Hello and welcome to today's event, Flipped Instruction with PowerPoint. Today's event is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. If you do not consent to being part of a recorded session, please disconnect your line at this time. The recording will be available at the same location you joined today's event. To learn more about the ways you can participate in today's event, please click on the Messages button in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Feel free to let us know if you're ready to get started by typing in a message and selecting Send. We encourage you to interact by using the Messages panel at any time to ask questions regarding content or to request support. We will do our best to answer all of your questions, but due to time constraints, we may be unable to answer them all during the live event. Your feedback is important, so please take a few minutes to complete a survey that will appear at the end of the event. Thank you in advance for your support. If you experience any technical difficulties, refresh your browser by pressing Ctrl F5 or the Refresh Now button on the information panel. If this does not resolve the issue, please send in a message and we will be happy to assist. There is also an online test page if you wish to self-support. Simply click the Help button in the Information tab. And now I'd like to introduce your presenter, Robin Ilton-G, Modern Classroom Experience Manager at Microsoft. Robin, you have the floor.
Thank you, Sage, and hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar today called Flipped Instruction with PowerPoint. I'm really excited to be here with you today. Excuse me. This is just one in a 12 webinar series we've had over the course of May and June. If you'd like to access recordings of previous webinars, you can do so by going to the same site where you registered for this one. And we have some really exciting ones coming up. We're talking about Stream and Minecraft, so we hope that you join us again back here for future presentations. I'd like to start by just acknowledging the Microsoft mission statement, which is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And specifically within education, to empower every student on the planet to achieve more. And right now, in this confusing time when we're working really hard to make contact with our students, figure out new strategies, new tools that we can use to empower our students. Microsoft is really dedicated to providing professional development, office hours, tech support, to help you in this mission and to fulfill this mission, because we really feel like it's an important one today. So we're thrilled to be with you talking about PowerPoint today. And once again, my name is Robin Ilton-G. I'm a Modern Classroom Experience Manager with the Microsoft Education team, and I'm located in British Columbia in Vancouver. And this is my email address. Feel free to get in touch with me after the presentation if you have follow-up questions, or if you'd like to book a private training session with your staff or your school. We are happy to accommodate that. This is my team, and I've got several folks on the call with me today supporting the Q&A in the chat bar. So if you have questions during the presentation, feel free to type them in the chat, ask your questions, and Renee or Amar or Mario will do their best to get to those questions. We are a team of educators, and we're located across Canada, supporting school districts and teachers adopt and implement Office 365 tools. We are also right now hosting daily office hours. So every day between 1 and 3 p.m. Eastern time, one or two of us will be online and assisting you with your real-time problems with Teams or remote learning or anything you want to just troubleshoot with us. Drop in. We'd love to see you. You can just click on or go to the link at the bottom of the screen, aka.ms/edu office hours during that time period, and we can chat. All right, a couple quick things to announce before we get started. We are hosting, or Microsoft is hosting, a virtual conference called Connect Ed. Registration is free, so if you're feeling like over the course of these past few months, you've been a little socially isolated from your other teacher friends, and you'd like a place or an opportunity to come together and share ideas, this Connected conference could be a great opportunity. So we encourage you to visit the website and check it out, aka.ms/connected. And I know my colleagues on the call might post that link in the chat. We also have a professional development opportunity coming up called Summer School 2020. So this is a chance for over the summer, if you want to skill up, learn some new digital tools, get ready for whatever comes in the fall, whether it's a hybrid, virtual, physical classroom space. We encourage you to check this out as well. So aka.ms/summer school 2020. It's all about empowering teachers. All right, so today flipped instruction with PowerPoint. We'll start out quickly with what is a flipped classroom? What does that mean? And then we'll talk about using and enabling the PowerPoint recording tool, which will let us record our own voice or narration that will align with our PowerPoint slides so that when students watch it, they can hear our voice and kind of comprehend our lesson content. We'll talk about adding screen recordings and inking in our PowerPoints, and then how to share them with our students. At the end, I will point you to more resources so that if this webinar goes too fast or if there are questions that I didn't answer over the course of this hour, you can check them out on your own, go at your own pace, and move through the learning tools yourself. This presentation, of course, will be recorded, as Sage mentioned, so you can go back and rewatch this as well. Okay, and with that, I'm going to exit this PowerPoint and go ahead and share my office.com dashboard here. So if you've been to one of these webinars before, you know that we like to start at office.com. So office.com in any web browser, signing in with your school district credentials will take you to your digital toolkit, your suite of Office 365 tools that you have access to through your education license. So you'll notice here that I have Teams, I have Word, OneDrive, Outlook, and I have PowerPoint online, which is great. But for recording narration that goes along with your PowerPoint presentation, it's best to use the desktop app of PowerPoint instead of the online version. If you do not have the desktop app of PowerPoint installed on your computer, that's okay. Through your education license, you can go ahead and install those Office apps on your device. So if I click here, I can install Office 365 apps. You'll see it says Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and more. So this is one easy way to make sure that you have the desktop app of PowerPoint installed, and you can go ahead and start recording those lessons. Okay. All right, so our first job is to just talk quickly about what is a flipped classroom. That's kind of one of our big concepts today. So let me just go ahead and go back to sharing this. The idea of a flipped classroom is an approach to teaching in which the direct instruction part happens in an individual space or an individual context. So while the students at home, they're actually being exposed to the new material and the direct instruction from you via a video lesson or a pre-recorded lesson. When they come to a group space or when they come to a physical, either a physical classroom space or a virtual classroom space with their peers and with you, instead of learning new material, they're bringing their questions and they're asking for clarification, and teachers are guiding students through examples and problem solving and applying those concepts to specific contexts. So it's just a bit of a reversal of where the direct instruction happens and where the practice part happens. So a flipped instruction or a flipped classroom perhaps is not something you want to do for every lesson, but while we're in this virtual remote learning context, it might be a nice thing or a nice strategy to try once in a while. So we're talking about pre-recording video lessons that students can watch on their own. They'll take their notes, they'll write down their questions, and when they come together with you, the teacher, you'll be guiding them through kind of resolving those questions and answers, working through practice problems, etc. Okay, PowerPoint is a perfect tool for doing this because PowerPoint allows you to create beautiful presentations and then record your voice along with them. So let's look at how that works. All right, I am now in my PowerPoint desktop app. So you can see that I have no web browser up top. I am in my PowerPoint app. And I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this PowerPoint by clicking on File and clicking on New to imagine like we were starting from scratch. I'm about to create a flipped lesson. I'm opening up PowerPoint, and I'm going to create a new presentation. So I could start with a blank presentation. If I like just a clean white slate, that's how I like to start, then that's what I'm going to click. But if you're someone who has a bit of design anxiety and doesn't like looking at a blank page, I'll encourage you to check out PowerPoint's templates. So you can see here, there's tons of designs. If you find one of these that works for you, you might like to choose that and start from there. And what it will do is just give your slides a bit of style to start with. The other tool that you have access to through the desktop app is Quick Starter. And I'll just quickly show what this allows you to do. With Quick Starter, I can type in a topic. So for example, space travel. I'll search for my topic and it'll say, what are you talking about? Do you want to talk about one of these specific things like space exploration? I'll say yes. And it gives me, or it automatically generates potential slide headings that I might want to include. So I can say, yep, the history, the future, and that's good. Next. And now I get to pick a look for my slides. So it'll say what design works best for you. I kind of like this one, so I'll click this one and click create. And what it's doing is just creating an outline of a presentation for me, so I don't have to start from scratch. You'll notice it says here, key facts about your topic. It even gives me a definition from Wikipedia that I can choose to use or get rid of. It gives me a title slide, a table of contents, some images that I can choose to use or not use, but you can see that this image is from NASA in the public domain, which is great, and click through. So I can then go ahead and change all this, but Quick Starter is a nice tool if you would not like to start from scratch. I'm going to close out of this because I have created a sample presentation for us today. I'm imagining that I am creating a lesson for my grade 5 students about photosynthesis and how plants grow. This is going to be my science lesson that I would like to pre-record and distribute to my students. The very first thing I have to do to make sure that I'll be able to record narration is to make sure that I have the recording tab up here in my ribbon, in my editing ribbon. If it's not there, an easy way to enable it is to go over here to File, click on Options at the bottom of your screen. If I click on Options, I'm going to come down to Customize Ribbon and then go over here to Main Tabs and make sure that my Recording tab is checked on. If it's unchecked, you might just have to check the box and click OK in order for that set of options to show up in your PowerPoint app. So real quickly, we're using the desktop app of PowerPoint. Make sure that your recording tab is enabled by going to File, to Options, and then to Customize Ribbon. Look for recording in your main tabs here. It is right down here. And click OK. All right. So my recording tab is enabled there, so I'm all set to go. But before we record, let's just talk a little bit about the design process for these slides. You can see here that I've got this nice picture of a plant leaf. I've got a black and white contrast. I've got some nice text. And in fact, I did not do any of the design work for this slide. I let PowerPoint do it for me. So I want to point out this really neat tool. It's called Design Ideas. Design Ideas, you'll always know it with the lightning bolt. If you see a lightning bolt in PowerPoint, it means PowerPoint wants to give you ideas and inspiration. So if I click on this, it's actually going to suggest, oops, no design ideas for this slide at the moment, but it would actually suggest ways of formatting this so that I choose how I want it designed. And we'll see an example of that with my next slide. So my next slide is the definition of photosynthesis. You can see here that it's a nice looking slide, but it's a little bit dull. And I might want to insert an image to make it a little bit more visually attractive and appealing. So if I come up here to insert, I'll go ahead and click on pictures. If I click on the down arrow, I can insert an online picture. If I click on that, this is the same tool that's embedded in Microsoft Word and OneNote and Sway. It brings up a Bing image search. So I can go ahead and search for plants, and it's automatically going to give me Creative Commons only photos, which means that I'm not going to get in trouble, in copyright trouble, for using any of these photos because they've been licensed for free use. So I'll go ahead and choose a plant here. Maybe this one looks good. I'll insert it into my slide. But you can see it's covering up my text. Without me having to do anything, PowerPoint automatically gives me design ideas that I can choose from to make this slide look a little bit better. So I'm just going to scroll down and select a design idea that I really like. I kind of like this one where it's just in the background there. Thank you very much. Perfect. So I've got an image. The other thing that I can do, this is a pretty text-heavy definition here. And let's say that I know that half of my students who are going to be watching this video, their first language is actually Chinese. So I could actually translate this text into Chinese and put both the English and the Chinese definitions on this slide. So I'm just going to come up here to the Review tab and click on Translate. Because I have this text selected, it will recognize this as English text, and then I can select one of 60 languages here to translate that text into. Right now I've got Chinese selected, and if I click on my slide, I can go ahead and say, go ahead and insert that into my slide here. Now I have the definition in 2 languages on my slide. And this is just another way of making your pre-recorded flipped lesson accessible to your students while they're watching it at home on their own, and so they don't get overwhelmed. Okay, other fun things. There's so much fun things you can do with PowerPoint. For example, in Insert, you can insert icons and shapes and 3D models, equations, symbols. I'll just point out a couple things. You can add kind of fun transitions between slides. So if you come up here to transitions, you can say, yep, I want this to fade in. That's great. You can do another one where it's random bars. Perfect. And then you might also be familiar with adding animations to your slides. If you'd like to do that, you just select an object or a text box and say, yep, I'd like this to float in. Perfect. So those types of things are fun, just fun little ways of keeping your slideshow engaging for students. If they're going to be watching this at home, we want it to be something that sticks with them and that they don't kind of zone out while they're watching it. If you'd like to delete these animations, you can always do that, clicking on this animation pane and removing. Okay. All right. So we are ready to record narration for this slideshow. So I'm going to come up here and go to the Recording tab. When I click on Recording, I'll go ahead and click on Record Slideshow. And it takes me to this really fancy producer-like interface. So let's just take a tour of what we've got here. Up in the top left are my record controls. Once I click on record, it'll give me a 3, 2, 1 countdown, and then it will start picking up my voice. This is how you stop, and this is how you can replay and watch what you've just recorded. Up here, I have the option of seeing my notes. So if you're someone, and I am definitely this person, who likes to type out some notes to remind them what they're going to say, you can click on this and see your notes while you are recording your narration. And over here, I just made the text a bit bigger, so let's see that text. Perfect. If you make a mistake, which is completely expected, and you want to redo it, you can click on clear and clear the recording on the current slide or on all. Down at the bottom, you'll notice you have several colors of pen. So while we're recording narration, we can also be recording inking on our slides. So I'll go ahead and select a red pen for this PowerPoint. And this just helps, you can draw with your mouse or you can draw with a stylus. This just helps students actually with retaining the information that you are telling them. Down in the bottom right, we can turn our microphone on and off. We can also turn our video on and off. So I'll go ahead and turn it on for a second. If you would like students to be able to see your face while you are recording, you can turn the video on. And I'm not sure if you're actually seeing it right now, my video. So I'll just go ahead and try that again. But what should appear, and I'm not sure why it's not at the moment, is a small square in the bottom right with your face. So that's an option for you to turn it on or turn it off. And it might be because I'm actually also in a Teams meeting right now that it's not showing up. So that's for you. Let's go ahead and give this a try. So let's go ahead and say record. So I'll say, hi everyone, today's presentation is about how plants use sunlight to grow. The definition, which you can see here, is that it is a process by which green plants and other organisms use sunlight to synthesize foods from carbon dioxide and water. And you'll notice that the word photosynthesis can be divided into two smaller words, photo, which you probably know, which comes from the word light, and synthesis, which comes from the word synthesis, putting together. I'll go ahead and stop. Okay, so you can kind of see how we use the inking in conjunction with our voice in order to emphasize points, make visual markers on our. I can and go back to the beginning here and play my presentation to see what it sounded like. Everyone, today's presentation is about how plants use sunlight to grow. The definition, which you can see here, is that it is a process by which green plants and other organisms use. Okay, so if we were happy with this, we could leave it as is. If we wanted to redo this particular slide, I could come up here to clear and I could clear the recording. So I think, let's see, let's just go ahead and go back. I'll just say stop. Once I click on clear, I can clear the recording on the current slide or on all the slides. Okay, so you can do this as many times as you want. If you're a perfectionist and you want to get your audio narration exactly right, you can redo it 5 times. But you also might want to just kind of give yourself a little leeway to be a little more relaxed, because it's really hard to kind of perfect some of these things, and we can get obsessed with doing them many, many times. Okay, so I'll go ahead and exit out of this. We can imagine that this is exactly the way we wanted it to be. We've got our recordings associated with each of these slides, which is great. I'm going to show you a few other cool things that you can, that you can add into your PowerPoints to make them come alive when students are watching them at home. So one of the other things you can do, and you can see I'm still in the recording tab here, is I can insert a screen recording into my PowerPoint presentation. And I think we will try and go ahead and do this right now. So I'm going to click on screen recording. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that the screen you'd like to record is already up on your computer. So I would actually like to take a recording of this website for my students and show them all the resources that are available on it. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my PowerPoint. I'll say insert screen recording, and it gives me the option to select the area that I would like to record. So if I click on select area, you'll notice my cursor has become a set of crosshairs. So I can go ahead and select this area and say, I would like to show this in my video. I'll select it, and then I'm going to go ahead and click record. I'll say, it'll give me a 3, 2, 1 countdown. And I'll say, hey everyone, I wanted to show you this website, Photosynthesis Education. When you come to this website, check out all these cool diagrams. Make sure you take a look at these in case you need to review anything in our lesson. This especially is going to be really helpful for you to review for our quiz. When I'm done, I can come up to the top and I can say stop. And now, when I go back to my PowerPoint, you can see that I have a screen recorded video inserted into my slide. So what this looks like is if I come back to my slideshow tab and I just play from the current slide, I'll say, hey everyone, I wanted to show you this website, Photosynthesis Education. When you come to this website, check out all these cool diagrams. Make sure you take a look at these in case you need to review anything in our. So you can see what a neat tool that is for helping students navigate a particular website or walking them through a particular tool that you want them to use. So once again, how you get there, you can find that in the recording tab, insert screen recording. Or maybe there's an online quiz that you want students to take to test their knowledge, test their skills. You can do that and insert that into your PowerPoint presentation. Another thing we can do that we might do to spice it up is if I insert a new slide, I can insert a screen clipping. So if I want to do this, what I might want to do is actually tell students or show students where to go to post their work on this lesson. So I'm going to take a screen clipping. I'm going to come down here and click on screen clipping. And it says, okay, well, what do you want to take a screen clipping of? So I could a screen of this web, and it's automatically inserted into my page. I'm actually going to delete that. Let's see. And instead, what I would like to show my students is where they should ask questions about photosynthesis. So I'm coming back to my office.com dashboard. I'm clicking to my Teams. If you're someone who's using Teams to communicate with their class, this is something you might do. I'm going to come into my physical team here, and this is what I would like to take a screenshot of. So I'll come back into PowerPoint, go recording, click on screenshot, screen clipping, and now I'll select this area of my team. And now I have a screenshot of my team inside my PowerPoint. What I can do with this now is I can go back into record and record slideshow. I'll go ahead and record from current slide. On record. I'll say, hey students, when you are done watching this lesson, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the questions channel in our class team. Say stop. So now students have exactly, or directions on exactly where to go for how to post questions on this lesson. So it's a nice way to use inking in conjunction with your voice, in conjunction with online resources to make this lesson really robust. Finally, the last thing I show that we can insert into this PowerPoint is that we can insert online videos into our PowerPoints as well. So perhaps there is a really amazing video of an example of something you're teaching about, a concept. For this example with photosynthesis, I have a video here which shows kind of a time lapse of plants emerging from their seed shells. I want to insert this into my PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link here. So I'm going to just Control C and copy that link. Come back to my PowerPoint and I'll go Insert under the Insert tab over here to Video. I can click on Online Video. It asks me to just enter the URL for the online video. So I'll go ahead and Control V, paste. I'll go ahead and insert.
Robin, I'm sorry to interrupt. It looks like your screen is frozen. Can you possibly stop sharing and reshare?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for interrupting, and stop sharing and try one more time. Can you see my screen now?
It's loading. 1 second.
Great. Just let me know when you can see my screen here.
Your connection is sounding really bad again.
Is struggling.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay. 1 sec. And I will try to fix that. Okay, how is it sounding now? Sage, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. It's still struggling a little bit.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. It's still loading.
Okay. Just let me know and then I can pick it up from where we left off.
Okay, so I believe we were at the screen clipping portion.
Perfect. Can you see my cursor and my screen?
We cannot see your cursor. Oh, I can see your cursor now, but it looks like your connection is really bad.
Okay. Well, one option would be that I could turn it over to one of my colleagues on the call, or we could wrap up and post more resources in the chat.
If you would like, we can progress your PowerPoint. Let's test it out. It looks like it's coming through. Let's go ahead and continue.
Okay, great. So everyone, I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. Yes, remote working from home has challenges with Wi-Fi bandwidth. So thank you for your patience, and thank you so much, Sage, for your support. So what we were just talking about is the ability to insert online videos into your PowerPoint presentation. The way you would do this is by coming over here to Insert and clicking on Video and clicking on Online Video. When you click here, you can just paste a YouTube URL for that online video and click Insert, which is what I've done here. So this is a YouTube video that is now embedded in my PowerPoint presentation. So perhaps I want to kind of bring some, like, a little bit more life to my presentation, and a really cool example of something that I found on YouTube that's related to our content. So I can do that here. So just to recap, we have created a presentation using design ideas. We have used Translate to make it really accessible to all of our students at home while they're digesting this new content. We've recorded narration that's associated with each of these slides. For these slides, or for this slide, I've actually inserted a video of a screen recording. So this, once again, we got there by going to recording, inserting screen recording. For this slide, we inserted a screen clipping and recorded narration and inking over top of this screen clipping. And then finally, we inserted an online video into our slideshow to give kind of an extra example, maybe bringing in a different voice so that students aren't just listening to your voice all the time. Okay, so that was a lot, and our next step would be to get this presentation to our students. So how are we going to share this content with our students so that they can digest it at home, come up with their questions, and bring their questions to class? So you have a couple options here. The first is to export it as a video. So under the recording tab, you'll see the option to export to video. If you click on export to video, it defaults to, well, first of all, you have some options for what size you would like to create, what size of file. So you can do HD, standard, full, etc. And then it defaults to exporting using the recorded timings and narrations that you've inserted into your slides. So if you've spent all this time recording narrations that go precisely with each slide and inking, etc., then this is the option you'll want to use. If instead you've created a PowerPoint that you just want to progress at even time intervals, you can say don't use the recorded timings, and instead you can say I want each slide up for 8 seconds, for example. But I'm going to use my recorded timings and narrations because I spent all this time working on them. You'll click on Create Video, and this is going to create an MP4 file. That's going to, you can decide where on your desktop you'd like to save it, where maybe you want to save it to your one. So I'll go ahead and save there, and you can see I've already got it saved. Once you have it saved as a video file, one thing you might consider doing is uploading that video to Microsoft Stream. So I'll go ahead and take you back to, and we can see that in our suite of apps, we also have Microsoft Stream. Stream is the app that comes with your Office suite that is all about video storage. You can upload videos here, create videos here, and get live or automatically generated captions that go along with your video. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Stream. And if you're interested in learning more about Stream, my colleague Renee, who is on the call, is doing a whole webinar tomorrow about Microsoft Stream. So that's going to be really exciting, and it's one of the apps that's becoming most relevant for our online learning. All right, it looks like my internet, because my internet connection is not so great, it's not opening. If you were to upload this PowerPoint video into Microsoft Stream, it would automatically generate a transcript for you of your video. So if you have students who are hard of hearing or just comprehend information better, they see the words written out, this is going to be a great option. From there, you can grab a share link and post that video into your team, on your class blog, send it out by email, however you communicate with your students. So exporting it into a video is one option. Another option is to share this file with your students as a PowerPoint file. So I could go ahead and save as show. And this is just going to save it as a PowerPoint file, as you can see here. I'll click on save, and actually I've already done that. Once it's saved as a PowerPoint file, you can come back over here to your class team if you're using Teams, go into your file library, and upload it into your class materials. I'll just remind folks, if you were with us for our Teams webinars a few weeks ago, this class materials folder inside your class team is a view-only folder for students. So you've spent all this time working on this recorded lesson. You want to upload it somewhere where students won't be able to make changes to it. They'll just be able to view it as you intended. So you can go ahead and click on Upload, click on File, and bring that PowerPoint into class materials on today's presentation. And it just started to play, but I can't do it now because it's open on my desktop, so I will not complete that. But if you click on upload, click on file, you can bring that PowerPoint into your class team and then just let your students know, hey, today's lesson is going to be inside class materials. Finally, the final way that I'll suggest sharing this with your students is simply by coming up to the top of PowerPoint and clicking on Share. Once I click on Share, I can generate a link to this PowerPoint that is view only. Go ahead and try that one more time. I know that my PowerPoint is being slow. Once I click on Share, and because here we go. It's going to say, okay, who would you like to share this with? Anyone with the link? If I click on that, I can decide whether I want to allow editing or not. Because, as I said, this is a lesson I want students to watch and digest, but not make changes to, I can say no, allow editing, and I'll say apply. And then all I need to do is copy. So now I have copied a link to this PowerPoint that is view only. And I can come back to my team, for example, and I could post in the channel and I could say, this week's lesson can be found here. I'll type that link, hit return, and then my students can simply click on this link and watch my PowerPoint as I intended. Okay. So just to go back, there's I've just showed 3 ways of sharing this PowerPoint out with our students. First, you can export it as a video. Once it's a video file, you can upload it to Stream, get an automatically generated transcript for it, and then share that Stream link out with your students. Additionally, you could upload this PowerPoint file to the class materials folder in Teams. And finally, you could also generate a share, and there are links where you can share just as view only. Okay, we are going to wrap up. I'll go back to my original PowerPoint here, and I'll just take you to where you can find more resources. So if you would like to learn more about either PowerPoint, flipped instruction, any Office 365 tools, Teams, Stream, Minecraft, education.microsoft.com is our Microsoft Education Center. And this is a professional development hub for teachers specifically. On this site, and I'll go ahead and take you right now, you can see this is what it looks like, the Microsoft Educator Center. There are courses, learning paths, resources that you can explore here. And these courses are self-guided modules that take you through interactive kind of how-tos of various programs, or even things like how to teach digital citizenship in your classroom. You can find a whole course on flipped instruction with PowerPoint in this Microsoft Educator Center. And my colleagues will post that link in the chat so you can find it. If you'd like to go back and review all this content again, that is great. In addition, up at the top, if you sign in with either your personal or your school district email account, you can keep track of your achievements. So for today's webinar, I'll actually give you a code that you can click on your initials once you're signed in and say redeem achievement code, and you can input, I'll go ahead and show it now, this number right here. And it will say on your kind of virtual transcript that you've spent this time learning about PowerPoint with us today. It's nice, it gives you some points and a badge to kind of gamify your professional development process. And I'll leave this code up here. Feel free to take a screenshot of it, or we can also post the code in the chat as well. So once again, the Microsoft Education Center, education.microsoft.com. There's so much to explore there. I've taken several courses from there, and I am always learning new things. Next, just feel free to take down my email address, which is written here if you have follow-up questions, or to book future professional development. All of my team members are available to do private training sessions at no cost for your staff. If you would like to learn more about OneNote or about Teams for your classroom settings, or Minecraft, we can definitely host those sessions for you. And then I'll draw your attention to a link, aka.ms/edu devices. If you are looking for a new device, or you're looking for a new class set of devices, you get a 10% off educator discount. So all the devices shown here are made for student contexts. They're easy to fold up, they're compact, they have touch screens, you can play Minecraft on them. And so if you are interested in talking about figuring out what's going to work for your classroom, if you need a new class set of devices, or if your school is interested in purchasing new devices for the fall or for the summer, feel free to get in touch with us and we can put you in contact with the right folks. Okay, finally, some tech support resources, support.office.com/education. You'll find how-to information on all Office 365 products and has some specific education scenarios there. So definitely check that out. Additionally, our engineers are always listening to teachers. So we really care about the education community. Office365.uservoice.com is where you can voice your suggestions. So how can we make PowerPoint easier for teachers to use? Feel free to go there and post your suggestions. Finally, if you have 2 minutes to give us any feedback about this webinar, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to scan this QR code with your phone or go to the link aka.ms/remote-learn-work. And it's a 2-minute survey. We'd love to know what really worked for you today, what didn't, and how we can make these webinars work for you. So thank you so much for spending an hour with us today. We're looking forward to seeing you at future webinars, and I will pass it back to Sage to close us out.
All right, thank you, Robin, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Please find a link to a certificate of completion in the message panel. As a reminder, you can access the event recording at the same location you joined today's event. Lastly, your feedback is important, so please take a few minutes to let us know how we did by completing a short survey that will appear in your browser window shortly after the stream ends. I'd like to extend a thank you to our presenters. This concludes today's event. You may now disconnect.
Hey, Sage, please, can I interrupt really quickly? Sorry, everyone. Can we go back like 2 slides to your MEC code, Robin? We are going to get a new MEC code. I know some people have been mentioning that this MEC code has already been used. Why don't we leave this slide up for 2 seconds? We'll make an announcement with the new code in like 2 minutes if you bear with us, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience today.